almost tripped coming out of there. Thank you. Oh man, good evening. Very happy to be here. I want to thank the Clinton School of Public Service and the Clinton Library for inviting me and my older brother McKinley out to Little Rock. I want to thank the college presidents who are in attendance today. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for your attendance as well. This is my first time to Little Rock, and I will say that my brother and I, we love to eat. So if anyone knows any great fine cuisine that Little Rock has to offer, please come up and tell us after I talk tonight, because we want to try out some of the best Little Rock food and leave here full and satisfied. But as you heard in the introduction, I was awarded the Rhodes Scholarship. And to be frank, I was very proud of myself for the award. I know I worked very hard for it. I prayed a lot about the award. My parents and my brothers, they were all very excited and proud of me as well. When I told them I had won the Rhodes Scholarship, my mother, she shed a tear and she started to yell on the phone. I really couldn't get any more words out. I was trying to tell her to calm down so I could tell her more how the interview went, but she was, I'm so excited. I was like, okay, well, I got to tell you a little bit more how it went. But my parents were very proud. At Florida State University, my coaches, teammates, friends, families, and colleagues from back home were all also extremely proud and elated that I would have this opportunity to study at Oxford in England. They know it's a prestigious academic award. But when thinking truly about the Rhodes Scholarship, I thought that, in record, it will be shown that I won the scholarship on November 22nd, 2008. But in reality, I certainly believe that I won this scholarship a long time ago. That it was through the development and the influence that my parents have put on my life and the inspirations that I've had through the role models that I've tried to admire and emulate, that I certainly put myself in position to be not only a worthy candidate, but to be a winner of this prestigious academic award. I want to tell you a little bit about this journey and process of how I got to actually win the Rhodes Scholarship. When applying for the Rhodes Scholarship, you have to get letters of recommendation from several teachers who have taught you at your institution, as well as some people around the community who can vouch for your character and the type of person you are. And the Rhodes Trust, or the selection committee, likes to ask the recommenders to write on the basis of leadership and character, academics, and athletic vigor. So let me start with leadership and character and where I thought that was developed. I'm a Christian, and I've always been a Bible-believing person. So I had this faith, this value in the Bible and following the Lord that it certainly gave me great values and morals to make the right decisions. Growing up, I grew up in Galloway, New Jersey, which is about 10 minutes from Atlantic City. My parents are from the Bahamas, but we grew up in New Jersey. A lot of my friends would go the wrong way, stray to the wrong path, because they had difficult times making the decisions as far as whether I should stay up late at night or party with some girls and some friends, drink alcohol, and not go to school, or not go to a class field trip, or really not focus on education and really worry about chasing the cool. And that never was a problem for me. I never struggled with that decision because I felt I had a strong moral foundation and a moral constitution that allowed me to make the right decisions in life, and I think it certainly stemmed from my faith and my relationship with Christ. But as a leader, I'll give you 3 examples how growing up I sort of identified that I was a leader and that I was a difference maker. Number 1, when I was in middle school, elementary school, whenever there was a class project where I would have to join with the team, my classmates would always point to me and say, Myron, you're going to be the one to talk for us. Myron, you're going to be the one to do this, that. And I never volunteered myself, but I sort of realized that if my peers believe that I'm the one who can speak on behalf of them, delegate the task properly, and lead them to an A, so we could all celebrate in a nice grade, I felt myself I could be a strong leader, and this is a pretty good thing. This is a good demonstration of how my peers feel about me, and I truly can believe myself as being a leader. Second thing, playing football growing up, we had these drills that our coaches would always put us through, and nobody wanted to do them first. Nobody wanted to be the first one in line because risking embarrassment, risking getting it wrong or getting yelled at by the coach. But I would always step forward and have the courage to be the first one to try out the drill. I know I had talent, but I wasn't sure how the drill was supposed to be run and what the coach exactly wanted. But I'd always step forward and do the drill so that my teammates could see how the drill was supposed to be done, and we can all get through practice well, and my teammates would get spared a little bit of embarrassment. So I think through athletics, I demonstrated my leadership ability as well. And then I think being a leader also is giving back to public service and really being involved in your community. And at an early age, my friends and I would go around to the local neighborhood and ask adults with our charming little smiles on, for pennies so that we could donate to the Leukemia Foundation in our local town because one of our classmates had been stricken with leukemia. And we only raised $26, but it was just so fun to be out with my friends and to, join and know that we were doing something good for the community, for a good cause, and helping a fellow classmate and friend. It was a lot of fun, and it really let me know that, hey, public service is so rewarding and so fulfilling. When I got to Florida State University, I wanted to continue on this leadership and character trend that I was on. So I looked for ways to get involved in the community. And we're the Florida State Seminoles at Florida State University, and we hold strong to the name of being a Seminole. And we have a strong relationship with the Seminole Tribe of Florida down in Lake Okeechobee on the reservation. And I wanted to do a health initiative in the Seminole Tribe of Florida, but wasn't quite sure what to do just yet. Well, the children of the Seminole Tribe, they were being stricken with diabetes and obesity and a lot of health implications that come from these two conditions. And I was a pre-med student at Florida State, as you heard in the introduction. My father's diabetic, so it hits home personally. I've always eat proper foods and exercise regularly, so I knew a little bit about how to stay healthy. So I developed this program for these 5th grade students at Pimienta Emahaga, the charter school on the reservation. And the program was an educational part and had an athletic part designed with it as well. The students learned about glucose, insulin, how to eat properly, physical activity, hypertension, what a myocardial infarction was. I mean, they were coming up and telling me these things. I was stunned that they knew so much information after I had provided the gym teachers and the administrators from the school all the questions and requisite knowledge that I wanted the kids to learn. They also learned about athletics, and they got involved and started to run around and participate in some different exercises. And at the end of the program, they lost in total 52 pounds with 36 kids. It was a great program. But the thing that was so intriguing to these kids and so appealing about this program that I put together, it's called Our Way to Health, was that the winning team, whoever did the best in the athletic part of the program and the academic part of the program, got to come to the Florida State versus Virginia Tech football game and get introduced in the middle of the field in front of 85,000 fans at Doak Campbell Stadium. Got their names on a jumbotron. They were waving to the crowd. I mean, one young girl, she started to cry because she was just so thrilled at the opportunity that she had in front of her, that fans were standing up and cheering for her. So it was awesome. And the program had sustainability and effectiveness. This spring, the program's continued to go on, and the winning team will get to throw out the first pitch against the Florida Gators, our rival. It pains me to say that at school, but I have to say it. So, it worked out well for them, and they enjoyed it. So I think leadership and character, I had that quality that the Rhodes selection committee was looking for. Now, what about academics? My parents, as you heard in the introduction, are from the Bahamas, and they came to this country for me, my brother, and we have 3 older than the one you see right here, for us to have the opportunity to grow intellectually. They felt that there was no ceiling on our growth as far as students were concerned. There was no limit in the United States of America. This was a country of opportunity. These were parents, immigrant parents, who really felt that we could be whatever we wanted to be. Even the president, before Barack Obama got elected, they thought we could do it. And they always put a premium and an emphasis on education. My coaches knew not to mess with the Rolle parents because they knew their boys were going to be studying if they're not at practice. They wouldn't even approach my parents about coming to the game on time because if Myron didn't finish his homework assignment, he wasn't going to be there. So they knew he wasn't going to be there. So education was certainly a priority for my parents. I remember scoring 2 touchdowns in a football game and having a great game. And my dad came up to me, "Good job, Myron, way to go." I said, "All right, that feels good." And then I came home with straight A's the next day, and my father got me 2 huge pizza pies. I already mentioned I love to eat. So he got me 2 huge pizza pies from my favorite Italian restaurant. I'm thinking to myself, all right, I got a pat on the back for scoring 2 touchdowns. Or I get 2 large pizza pies that I love to eat, for getting straight A's. So I sort of realized that the value of education in my family was a lot different. So, I continued to work hard, even thinking to myself, man, I got to get that pizza. I got to get that pizza. It worked out for me. But when I got to Florida State, I took pre-med classes because I wanted to be a doctor, and I was inspired by a man named Dr. Ben Carson. He's an African-American pediatric neurosurgeon, one of the best in the world, and he certainly inspired me to want to get into medicine and want to help people and touch lives. I love science, and I thought that this man was a true role model for me. So I wanted to do pre-med, and I got involved in that at Florida State. I also got involved in some cancer cell and stem cell research at Florida State, working with rat brain cancer, human cervical cancer, and human testicular cancer with my biochemistry professor. And the research was phenomenal. We learned a lot. A lot of the things that I did in my biochemistry class, I was actually getting to see in a lab under a microscope, so it was fascinating. And again, academics, education, the importance of increasing my intellect was a #1 priority for me. It stuck with me, and I think that was one of the reasons why I won the Rhodes Scholarship. So academics, I thought I had that covered as well. Now, athletic vigor was the last part of the recommendation, what the Rhodes Trust was looking for as far as their applicants. I never thought that playing football would help me win a Rhodes Scholarship because I thought everyone who won were nuclear physicists or just brainiacs, and I just didn't think that having athletic ability would help me win this award, but I think it did. I played a lot of sports growing up, football, basketball, baseball, and I love sports because sports taught me a lot of values. It taught me discipline, how to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning when everybody's sleeping to lift weights or run. It taught me teamwork. When I wasn't friends with my teammates or we didn't get along off the field, on the field we were 11 people and we had to win the game. That was the ultimate goal. And we couldn't let our beef or our strife or our disagreements off the field get in the way of winning the game because there were 9 other guys who were counting on us to get our jobs done. I had to be in this gap, he had to be in that gap, he had a responsibility, I had a responsibility, and if we worked together, we'd get things done. But if we didn't, just because we didn't like each other, strike up the band, they're scoring a touchdown, and it wasn't good. I also learned how to have mental toughness in football, and that definitely will serve me well far beyond sports and way into my life. I play safety, which is the last line of defense for some of you who don't know football, but I'm all the way in the back. So if there's a long touchdown or a long run made, you'll see me running behind the person on ESPN or SportsCenter. And trust me, I get calls from my friends saying, "Myron, I saw you get burned, boy. I saw him get past you." I'm like, man, you didn't see what happened earlier? You didn't see what happened to the other guys? But yeah, I'll definitely be seen and, as we call it, put on blast on SportsCenter on national TV. But I had to get through that. And regardless of how many people saw my mistake or my error or my inability to stop a touchdown, which I won't say happened often, okay? I made All-American this year, so I was okay. It didn't happen all the time. But, regardless of how bad I made, how bad I did on that play, that one particular play, I had to put that aside and try to do better the next play. I knew my teammates were counting on me. I knew my coaches were counting on me. And I knew I had to do better, and I knew I could do better. So football definitely taught me to have that mental toughness because I certainly and strongly believe that in life, when challenges come in your way, unforeseen obstacles come and hurdles get in your path, the strong and successful people are the ones who get back up when they're knocked down. The weak people, the weak-minded people, are the ones who stay down and complain about how hard they have it, how much of a burden life is, how tough their situation is, and they can't get out. Those are people who are weak, and I never wanted to be that way. And football definitely taught me to be strong-minded, strong-willed, and to persevere through difficult adversity and times. So I learned a lot. And when I got to high school, I want to tell you a little bit about my recruiting experience in high school as one of the top athletes coming out of New Jersey and out of the country, as a matter of fact. I was recruited by Oklahoma, and this was a school I really liked, and I went to their college campus in Norman for a visit. And I met with the president of the university, David Bourne. I met with Bob Stoops, the head football coach there at Oklahoma. I also met with Barry Switzer, a legendary former Hall of Fame coach at Oklahoma, toured the facilities, and met the chief doctor at Oklahoma, at their hospital. The week after, I went to the University of Miami for a visit down in Coral Gables, Florida. And I met with the president of the university, Donna Shalala. I met with Larry Coker, the head coach at the time. I met with the legendary former Hall of Fame coach, Jimmy Johnson, toured the facilities, and also met the chief doctor at the hospital. And wouldn't you know, the next week I went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, met with the president of the university there, Met with Lloyd Carr, the head coach. Met with Bo Schembecker, a legendary former Hall of Fame coach. Toured the facilities. I met the chief doctor. So these colleges really picked up that, hey, this is what Myron likes, and let's keep doing this. Let's everybody try to mirror each other's visits. And I chose Florida State University because I loved Coach Bowden. I loved Tallahassee, Florida. The people were genuine. They were warm. They were fun. They accepted all my advanced placement courses from high school. They commit. Yes. Yes, they did. They did. Michigan and Notre Dame wouldn't, and that X'd them out right away. I don't know how many recruits go to these schools and say, will you accept my advanced placement courses, coach? I mean, is that possible? But, I was a different kind of recruit, I guess. I wanted to be a pre-med student, so they committed that I would be able to go to my pre-med classes and take my labs and graduate in 3 years. And it was fun. And the most selling point on Florida State University was that Coach Bowden sweetened my mother up, I'm telling you. Once you get Mother Rolle on your side, it's pretty much a done deal. So she went up to my mother, hugged her, and said, oh, I want your son here. And then my mother came back in the car and said, you're going here, son. It was done. So I guess I like Florida State, but my mother liked it even more, and it's pretty much a wrap from there. So I had a good career as an athlete at Florida State. I made All-American, as I told you. I was an All-ACC performer, started as a true freshman, had a great career, and set myself up to be a potential first or second round draft pick in this year's NFL draft. But then I won the Rhodes Scholarship, and I sort of thought that winning $5 to $8 million as a first or second round draft pick, that was fun. I never had a lot of money. I could retire my parents. I could buy the car that my brother wants, that I want. We could live comfortably. We could travel wherever we wanted to. That's a lot of money. But the Rhodes Scholarship was so much more important because going to Oxford and studying medical anthropology among some of the bright and most brilliant minds in the world, traveling Europe, reading some wonderful books, and really just setting myself up for a tremendous future was something I couldn't pass up. So I accepted the Rhodes Scholarship and put aside the NFL for 1 year. The day I won the Rhodes Scholarship, we were playing the University of Maryland in College Park, Maryland, and I was interviewing for the scholarship in Birmingham, Alabama. At 12:50 was my interview, and our game was set 8 o'clock. But I interviewed, I did pretty well. It was a 20-minute interview, a lot of pressure, intense pressure, but I got through, and I thought I did well. And I smiled and tried to convey my personality in the interview. 2-hour deliberation, they said, Myron Rolle, you're the winner. I thanked God. I called my brother, called my parents. They were screaming, yelling, going crazy. And then I got on a private plane to go up to College Park, Maryland to join my teammates that same day. Got dressed and got to the game by the second quarter. And we won the game 37-3. It was a wonderful day, and I'll never forget it. So it was amazing. But in closing, I just want to tell you that the Rhodes Scholarship, I certainly didn't win it on that day. It was a process, it was a journey. And for you young kids out there, and even for you adults, if you want to take this message too, that if you have a goal or a dream or a vision that you see for yourself, I saw the Rhodes Scholarship for myself. I did. I really saw myself as a Rhodes Scholar. Bill Bradley was one, President Clinton is one, Pat Hayden, Byron Whizzer White, Susan Rice, these people who have done tremendous things in our country and our world were Rhodes Scholars. And I saw this for myself, I really did. But I knew that I had to take the requisite steps every day to get there. Take advantage of every day, every opportunity, study hard, focus in school, stay away from the distractions, and continue forward on my path. Even when hard times come, I kept getting up, kept getting back up. And at 22 years old, I really believe that I'm a testament that you can do whatever it is you want to do. My parents saw this for me and my brothers 22 years ago from moving from the Bahamas and coming to the United States. There's limitless opportunity on your growth. And if you see a goal for yourself, you see yourself as a doctor, as a lawyer, as an engineer, as a politician, whatever it is, a writer, an actor, an activist, a scientist, really take the steps today. Continue to walk towards your goal, and you can get there. You certainly can. I've done it, and you can too. So I just want to say thank you for having me out tonight. I think we're going to have a question and answer session. Thank you very much for listening. Be blessed.
We have time for quite a few questions. If you want to ask a question, please raise your hand. We have 2 mics roaming around. Wait for the mic to get to you. Any questions? Start off right there, ma'am, or sir. Yes. Go ahead.
Excuse me. I'd like to congratulate you on your accomplishment. This is really a fine 2008, 2009 in America, and I'd like to congratulate you.
Thank you.
The question, you mentioned Tallahassee, and I have a little familiarity. As you indicated, you are the Seminoles, and you're, with all due respect, of Florida State, you're noted primarily for your football prowess. Then concomitantly, right across the street is Florida A&M,
Right.
which are the Rattlers, but they have a national, international reputation for their marching band. But having said all of that, and I know in spite of your busy lifestyle, how would you characterize today the relationship between those two state universities?
I think the relationship is continuing to grow. I joined a fraternity when I was at Florida State, Kappa Alpha Psi, and we have some fraternity brothers at Florida A&M, and we always like to fellowship with them and continue to keep that bond. Now, I understand that Florida A&M sometimes feels like they're getting the short stick, that it's the capital of Florida, and the governor, Charlie Crist of Florida, is a Florida State grad. So they feel that Florida State gets a lot of attention, a lot more students, a lot more of the money. But I would say that whenever there's an event in Tallahassee, the Mayor John Marks from Tallahassee, and even Governor Charlie Crist, they always like to bring both schools together to share in the experience and really continue to nurture that relationship, because Tallahassee is an incredible town, I believe. It's a college town, and I think part of its character is having that Florida State University there, great, strong football program, a wonderful, legendary coach, as well as wonderful research that goes down there. And then Florida A&M, wonderful mechanical school, great pharmacy school, and as you mentioned, one of the world's best marching band, the Marching 100, with a lot of pride and tradition. So, yeah, I think that adds to the character of Tallahassee, and Governor Crist and some of the leaders in the community love to keep their relationship strong.
I think we had a question back there, yes.
Hi, congratulations on being named in the Rhodes Scholar.
Thank you.
Could you talk to the young people in the room about your 2006 Watkins Award and what that's meant to you?
Thank you. The Watkins Award is the African American Scholar Athlete of the Year award, and I won it as a senior in high school. It goes to an individual who demonstrates quality character, commitment to service, and obviously athletic ability as well, and academic prowess and ability also. This award it means a lot to me, because every year the winners and even the finalists get to go back to Los Angeles and take part in the banquet. And it's a fraternity and a brotherhood, so to speak, where all these young, achieving black men are coming together for a good purpose and really just continue to excel, not only in their college campus, in their local community. So I'm proud to be a Watkins man, and any of you young men out there who are involved in football, basketball, baseball, any sport, who continue to achieve in school as far as your academics are concerned and getting involved in the community, the Watkins Award will be looking for you, certainly will. They're always looking for the young, aspiring, and bright future young men who will lead this country.
Right there, Judge.
Would you speak specifically about the importance of avoiding the notion that smart is not cool or that dumb is?
That was well put. That was well put. Sound like Father Rolle for a second. Oh man, you know, it pains me when I hear of young students who are focused on how good they look in school and the rap song that they want to learn, or the club that they want to go to on the weekend, that being more important and that taking precedence over studying for the SATs or reading a good book in their spare time just for leisure, not because a teacher assigned it. It pains me, but I believe that the people who are making a difference in this world, the Barack Obamas of the world, the Oprah Winfreys, are the ones who have used their intellect to make a difference. are the ones who have used their intelligence and their brain power to make change and to make things happen, to make incredible influence in lives. Not everyone is going to be a LeBron James who could jump out the roof, or Usain Bolt who could run 100 meters incredibly fast. That's not everybody. These young men are especially gifted and they're very talented. But everyone can focus in school and continue to take their academics and education important, because it can open doors for you. The doors you may not see for yourself right now, but in 5, 10 years from now, you'll look back and say, man, I'm so glad I studied in that biology class and I took that seriously. I'm so glad I paid attention to that teacher, because what she was saying really worked, and it really helped where I'm at today. I'm so glad I read that book, because I gained some knowledge that my peers don't have, and I'm able to use this brain power to answer these questions, or to solve this problem that I see. It will benefit. Trust me, it will. And I didn't see the door for me early, but I knew that if I did well, I was getting those pizza pies, as I mentioned. But doors would be open, and things would be made a lot easier. Even playing a college sport, football, basketball, baseball, there are eligibility requirements, your GPA and your SATs. And so if you're not doing your work in school, and if you're not getting the job done in the classroom, you won't have the opportunity to be that LeBron James if that's what you so desire. So education was extremely important, and I think that is the cool thing, because you have people like Barack Obama and the other leaders in our country and our world who are showing that being smart is the cool way to do it.
Question? Right there. Yes, ma'am.
Let me start by saying that I think that what you did was spectacular, both on and off the field.
Thank you.
But what I was going to ask you is, how did you manage to perform well in the classroom and have the full commitment to both football and your academics?
It's a great question. It's about prioritizing and knowing what's important. You know, when I'm playing football, I have a schedule. It's 2:15 to 6:30. That's when I play football. That's when I'm in that, as I tell my brother, animal mode, you know, trying to knock everyone out I see on the football field. I'm a different person, a little mean. I don't think you want to be around me. But when it's time to study, and when it's time to focus in reading, or going to the library and working, you have to have that discipline, that self-discipline, to say, I'm going to do it. Wake up in the morning with a plan that, hey, I'm going to study from 9 to 11. I'm going to eat, and I'm going to go back into the library and study again. Then when it's time to practice football, it's time to do that. There was really not a lot of time to play PlayStation or spades or cards or dominoes with my teammates. That's what they did. But I knew I had something greater. I knew I had a goal. I knew where I wanted to be. And playing dominoes in my spare time instead of reading books or doing my homework wasn't going to get me there. So if you understand that right away, and you really prioritize and understand what's important, get your order straight, you won't have a problem balancing it. It will become routine, and it will become a part of your daily life, and it won't be a challenge. It certainly won't.
Yes, ma'am. Here.
Tell me a little, share with us what you think your influence was on the football team as an example that possibly, I mean, it's been a long time since I can remember. Pat Hayden's the last Rhodes Scholar I can remember. So I'm just curious what how you feel your influence was on them.
I feel that my influence as a football player who won a Rhodes Scholarship is deep. I think it's profound, because you have that perception that, especially football players, are meatheads, not interested in school, doesn't care about their future academically, just there for the riches and the fame and the attention that they get from the opposite sex or whatever it may be. But if I can continue to break down that wall that people have put up for jocks or for athletes, that is a blessing. And if I can inspire others to go out and compete just as hard in the court, pool, track, football field as they do in the classroom, that'd be amazing. I think that I would have served my purpose. I love being that role model and that example that you can do both. You can be a top flight athlete, and you also can be a top tier student as well. So I love that the fact that my story has been getting out, that I'm able to speak to groups like this, to get the message across that it's possible to have more than one dream and more than one goal. You can be smart, and you can be an athlete too.
Yes, sir.
Myron, thank you so much for being here with us in Arkansas.
Thank you.
And I do hope that you find that good restaurant. We have plenty
I
of
hope so too.
Two things. One, what can you tell the young people here tonight about public service and its value to an individual? And to, secondly, tell us where you vision yourself when you're my age 40 years from now. What do you hope to have accomplished in the next 40 years? And you know, what are your plans? Because it looks to me like the sky's the limit, and I'm anxious to hear about it.
Thank you. First, let me start on the first question, public service and how important it is. It's extremely important. I went to the Clinton Global Initiative where I got a chance to meet some other compelled, motivated students who were doing initiatives in their local communities, on their college campus, and even globally. And they were telling me stories of just how refreshing it was to be able to go out and see the change that they've made in the community by either picking up some trash in a polluted area or you know, giving free shots to some impoverished people in Africa and parts of the world that didn't have access to that type of health care. It was a fascinating experience, and for me personally, there's no more rewarding feeling than seeing that change and that difference in that life that you have touched. Scoring a touchdown, making a bone-crushing hit, it's phenomenal. I love the feeling of that. Certainly do. I love the reaction from the crowd. It's great. It drives me. But I certainly feel that going out and getting involved in some kind of community effort, using your talents and gifts that the Lord has blessed you with and dispersing them and sharing them with your fellow man or fellow woman in need is so much, so much more rewarding and so much more gratifying that I will look to continue to do that on and on. And it doesn't have to start just in college. It can start in high school or even before that, where you can go and Habitat for Humanity, help build houses. I did that in high school, went to Circleville, West Virginia, Wakulla, Florida, and helped build houses. The Pennies for Pasta that I told you about, raising for leukemia and leukemia victims as a classmate was stricken with that disease. Trust me, the feeling, young people, the feeling is great. It's a feeling that you really can't describe. It's one that will last for you for a lifetime, and that's why public service is so important. It connects you, it makes you human, and it gives you that feel and that touch of empathy that we all need to have in this world. Now, for your question, 40 years from now, where I see myself, well, I plan to finish up that master's degree, as I mentioned, medical anthropology at Oxford, and play for 9-10 years in the NFL. Then I plan on going to medical school and being a neurosurgeon to follow in Dr. Ben Carson's footsteps and be one of the leading physicians in this country and in the world. With that foundation that I learned from Oxford, that medical anthropology, I want to go to other parts of the world, especially impoverished countries, and help build up their medical infrastructure to see poor people and low-income people have access, good quality access to healthcare. I feel that this country is blessed with some great specialist doctors, you know, wonderful medicine, wonderful treatments. If we could somehow channel that to countries in the Caribbean, countries in Africa, South America, around the world, so that these people who don't see a specialist doctor for epilepsy or for depression, for other mental health disorders, they will be treated and they will certainly be happy and glad that someone took the time to care for them and someone had the empathy to go out and seek that treatment for them. So that would be a blessing. Also start a family and be a good father like my father was, and you know, buy that car and retire my parents as I always wanted to do. So that'd be a perfect ideal way for me to go out in 40 years.
Right back there. Yes, sir.
I want to welcome you two and express you know, thankfulness that you came tonight. But I saw the piece on you on College Game Day about that day that you got your scholarship and then when you played that night. Can you talk a little bit more about that? The meetings that you had with Coach Bowden about, you know, choosing to miss part of the game, and then also how your teammates reacted and just how you felt going through that day mentally and physically.
It's a good question. Coach Bowden was in total support of me missing half of the game, or even all of the game. And as a matter of fact, that week, not many people know this, that week I was put down to the second team because they weren't expecting me to play in that game. So I had to sit behind another safety who I was trying to mentor and teach him how to roll down in the box and make tackles when he had to that B gap open for you or how to cover the slot receiver. So I was doing a lot of teaching that whole week. But in my back of my mind, I'm thinking, man, how's this Rhodes Scholarship thing going to happen? I'm not sure. But when the day came, Coach Bowden was total support. He said, Myron, go ahead. I hope you win it. Come back and let's win this game. So once I got his blessing, it was 100% full throttle, let's go. Birmingham, Alabama, as I told you, that's where the interview site was, and there were 12 other finalists. So I woke up that day on November 22nd, knowing that I had to play a game later that night. And game days, I love to have the same routine. I love to listen to my iPod. I like to envision myself making interceptions or big tackles. I take a 30-minute shower, run up the water bill in the hotels a lot of times. I stretch, and I like to go over my playbook as well. So I was doing all this in the morning before my interview for the Rhodes Scholarship. But then I also, as I just said, I know I had that Rhodes Scholarship coming, so I wanted to read some sample questions that a teacher had provided for me the day before. So I did that to keep my mind sharp as well. Got to the interview site at a financial building in Birmingham, Alabama, waited around with the other finalists, and the ones who had already been interviewed, I was sort of asking them, how was the interview? How were the judges? Were they tough? Were they mean? Were they biting your head off? How was it? And they would give me good answers. They said, well, they were okay. Just be yourself, smile, and go in and give it your best shot. So 12:50 came, went in there for my interview. They asked me questions about the stereotypical jock. Why do jocks have this stereotype of not being smart? How do you look to break that? They asked me questions about the 3 books that are on my bedstand, why I graduated college in 2.5 years. I sort of found that question kind of weird. I was like, They were like, well, you could have took French, you could have took Spanish, you could have done this. I'm like, oh, man, I just wanted to graduate, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing to graduate, especially not early. But, so they were asking me a lot of questions, peppering me with a lot of questions, and I felt I did well. And after that 20-minute interview, went back inside, told my brother I thought I did well, and I think I have a good shot at it. I got a little wink from one of the judges. I don't know what that meant, but I was feeling good. I was feeling good about my chances. So we waited around 2 hours, and the funny thing about this story is that I'm sitting there texting and trying to watch the football game. I'm watching, I think it's LSU versus Mississippi State. I think they're on TV, and a lot of people are reading, doing homework. But the kid next to me continued to fidget so much. He would move, and he was getting me nervous. And I was like, and anytime a door would open down the hall where the judges were sitting and doing the deliberation, he would get up and look and see, and he'd be like, oh, they're not there. And in my mind, I'm like, man, this kid does not sit down and relax. I might have to put him down myself. But we waited around. I found out that I had won, called my brother, called my parents, and they were really excited for me. Signed a few papers agreeing that I would take the Rhodes Scholarship. Not sure that I was going to at the time. But got on a private plane that was provided by a Florida State booster, cleared by the NCAA. And yes. I had to put that disclaimer in there, yeah. We have a history of Florida State doing some things wrong, but that one we did right. We got that cleared. So flew. I had the Chronicles of Higher Education. They were on the plane with me. Tallahassee Democrat. They were on the plane with me, and Sports Illustrated. And they were asking me questions about how I felt and how everything was going. And I sort of just wanted to sleep. I just wanted to sort of take it all in and relax, but they kept prodding me, tapping my feet, telling me, hey, get up, I got another question. I'm like, oh, man. But it was fun. I got through, listened to my iPod, actually turned on Frank Sinatra. It was a very good year, because I thought that was a nice song to play for that day. Also played Ice Cube. Today was a good day, because it was a good day. It certainly was. Got to BWI Airport, heard on the radio that our team was winning and we were doing very well. And actually the camera guy wasn't there when I got to the airport, so I had to reenact walking out of the plane, and it was freezing on the tarmac. I only had a sweatsuit on, and Maryland was super cold that day. So we got out, got to a police escort. The lady said, who was driving, the police officer said, I'm going to try to get you there as fast as possible. I'm a police officer, so they can't stop me. So she was making, I think, 80 or 85 down the highway, and I was listening to the game on the radio, and it was fun. Got to the stadium. My parents were there waiting for me. There was a mob of cameras that came up and had the cameras right in my face. I gave my mother a huge hug. She was crying. My dad gave him a hug. I don't see him cry often. He started to cry, and I was about to tear up, but I was on TV, so I couldn't let I had to keep that man about me, So So I got there and got changed into in the locker room. Some of the cameras wouldn't let me change. I had to take off my pants and put on my football pants. They wouldn't leave, but I told them to go away so I can get taped and get changed, and walked out onto the field and had the cheerleaders there applauding, and had our Florida State fans standing up and giving me an ovation, as well as the Myron Terrapin fans, which I thought was very interesting, that they respected and honored the fact that I won this prestigious award, regardless of the fact that I'm playing for the team that's trying to beat them today. Got to the field, my teammates said congratulations, and at the end of the game, they threw ice water all on my back, freezing. And Jack Arute, the ESPN announcer, came up and wanted to interview me, and my teeth were still shattering from that ice cold water, but it was just a great day. I will never forget it. We documented it. My parents wrote everything about the day. I kept every single text message I had on that day, and I'll never forget it. So, in depth, that's how that November 22nd went.
Any more questions? Yes, you right there, sir. We'll start with you, yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming again, and I just wanted to say that we didn't have the greatest of years last year at Central, mainly because there wasn't much senior leadership.
Right.
What's something that we can do as seniors to really help out the younger kids and create that team unity?
It's a good question. I would say it starts off the field. I was a junior, but I started since I was a freshman. So a lot of coaches considered me a leader. And what we'd do on maybe Wednesdays or Thursdays in the summer and the off season, we'd all get together and watch a movie together. We'd all get together and go to the park together, go to Fun Station and play laser tag or something fun outside of football. We like to keep it where the focus is on the players. At Florida State, Coach Bobby Bowden, he's a legend. He could run for governor if he wanted to. I mean, that's how popular he is and how much he's revered in Tallahassee, Florida, and around the state of Florida. But we wanted to make sure that the focus continued to be on the team and on the guys. So we always wanted to keep that bond and that relationship, and we try to do that, like as I said, through getting together outside of the field, watching film together, watching other games together, going to parks and going to movies and going to dances together and just having a good time and really having that fellowship and that bond. I truly believe that if you develop that relationship outside of the field, that when you get on the field, you do not want to let your teammate down, because that's your friend, that's your brother, that's your confidant, that's your teammate, that's someone who you really connect with. And you won't let yourself slip. You won't let yourself slack. You won't let yourself take a play off or not run a sprint as hard as you could at the end of practice. Because not only is it not good for you, that you're not becoming a better player, but you know that the guy next to you and the guy next to you, they're your boys, and they want to see you do well, and you all want to do well for them. So I would say really develop that bond outside of the field, and I think that will go a long way. Your coaches will love the fact that you guys are being proactive at trying to be a better team and trying to come together as a band of brothers, and I think that will bode well for your future and your success of your season.
Time for 2 more questions. You back there, sir.
If there was one thing you could change about what has happened to you so far, what would it be?
One thing I could change. Man. Honestly, I wouldn't change anything. And that's not the politically correct answer or anything. I've just been so blessed to have a tremendous family, a brother that cares about me as he does, and my other brothers do as well, parents that have put these strong values. And I've had people approach me and asking me for my parents' number because how great of a job my parents did. And they surely did. They definitely just instilled this discipline and these strong values and put me around the right people so that I would have the opportunity to flourish and to grow and to thrive in the environment that I was in. And to be here to speak to you today as a Rhodes Scholar, as an All-American athlete, and as a potential NFL draft pick next year. So I certainly wouldn't change anything. I've lived a great life. I continue to thank the Lord for his blessings on my life and for the people he's put in my life and for the direction that I'm going. So everything's going pretty well so far. I wouldn't trade it.
Yes, you back there, sir.
Hello, my name is Cameron Luttrell, and I want to know, were you ever tempted to go into the NFL when you saw how the scouts were talking about how high you can go in the draft and how much money you can get, so you can go ahead and take care of your family now instead of waiting into the future?
Definitely was tempted, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that money and the prestige of being an NFL player wasn't enticing, because it certainly was, especially towards the end of my season. In the beginning of the season, you know, I'd hear that I'd be a potential first or second round pick, but it really doesn't crystallize in your mind until the draft starts to near, and then you start to see the other kids who are entering the draft. This year's safety crop, the first kid to come off the draft is probably going to be a late third round pick, early fourth round pick. And, you know, like I said, as I told you, I'd be a late first round pick, early second round pick. And that certainly was appealing, no doubt. The prospect of making that money, of, as I saw, retiring my parents and living that comfortable life, that was attractive. It was. But 10 years from now, if I had skipped out on this Rhodes Scholarship opportunity and went into the NFL immediately right after college, I know I would have regretted it. I know I would have. Because, again, this Rhodes Scholarship is something that is prestigious. It's something that can change my life. It can help propel me to some of the goals and ambitions that I have for myself in the future. Laying that foundation of medical anthropology to go in different parts of the world and really do the work that I want to do, I think it starts at Oxford in September, and I'm certainly looking forward to that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the best programs we've ever had at the Clinton School. Let's thank Myron.